Hello friends, welcome to Shiksharthi. In this video, we shall be discussing how to solve a particular kind of question on trigonometry. So let's start. Now, this is the question that I have picked up from the NCERT book, chapter 8 on trigonometry, example number 1. And I feel that this is a very important question. The reason here is, once if we try and understand what is the correct and let's say the complete way of solving the question, henceforth it becomes easier for you to solve such type of questions also and other type of questions which are associated with trigonometric ratios. So let us see what the question is. The question says, given tan A is equal to 4/3, find the other trigonometric ratios of the angle A. Now this is the piece of information that is given in the question. Nowhere the question talks about whether this angle A is an acute angle or it is an obtuse angle. Now why do I say this? Is because the very first thought that you need to do here is whether the given angle is acute or it is a right angle or it is greater than right angle, which may be either obtuse or maybe a reflex angle. And we will be discussing this question with respect to the PBH concept that we have already discussed in our videos on trigonometry. Okay, so we know that tan theta, here it is tan A is perpendicular upon base. So what we'll do here is, we will assume that the value of the perpendicular is 4x, where x is a constant term. At the same time, b becomes equal to, how much is b here? 3x. And the value of h is something that we need to find out, which we don't know. Keeping in mind that this x has to be a non-zero real number. Okay, so as discussed, now this triangle, this angle A, let us say the triangle, either I take this or let me first take a triangle here. So I have taken the triangle as ADC. This is one orientation of a triangle that I have drawn. This is another orientation of a triangle I have drawn. There is a reason behind this, and the angle here is A. This is angle A. This is angle A. And we know the formula. What is the formula? The formula states P square plus B square is equal to H square. What is P? Perpendicular base square is equal to hypotenuse square. So 4x whole square is 16x square, base square is 9x square, and here we get it as h square. So the value of h square comes out to be 25x square. Now this is a quadratic equation. Why do I call it as a quadratic equation? Because the power here is 2, the power of h. So when we solve it, we will say that you will get two values of x. Either you will get the value of h as 5x, or you will get the value of h as minus 5x. So let us substitute these values here. PBH concept. Now P in any case we are taking it as 4x, B in any case is equal to plus 3x, and now the second such case that we have made here is minus 5x. Now this case is a case where I am making an acute angle triangle. Now acute angle also has to be seen with the positive direction of x-axis. So I have explained this here. Let us assume that this is, we are talking about, this is an xy plane, where this is my y-axis and this is my x-axis, right? And the x-axis is nothing but the base, which is why I have taken it as minus b and plus b, and the y-axis is nothing but the perpendicular. So thereafter we can say that this is my first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, and fourth quadrant. So now this is the angle that we are talking about. So let's say the triangle here is ADC. This is the triangle that I have drawn. The another triangle that I can draw here is with a different orientation, which is this. The same triangle I can draw again is this, which is in the third quadrant. And this kind of a triangle I can again draw it only in the fourth quadrant. That means we need to talk about these quadrants. So I have put, these are few things that we have already discussed in our videos. I have put it here. So after this, we can take the discussion to the next level. Now when we say we are taking the discussion to the next level, here the first case that I have made here is acute angle case, and the second case that I have made here is a non-acute angle, which here means what? Obtuse angle. So I'll write it also here. This is a case for acute angle A, and this is the case for obtuse angle. Now let us see, we have already discussed that in the first quadrant all of the trigonometric ratios are positive, in the second quadrant only sine is positive, in the third quadrant only tan, in the fourth quadrant it is cos. And if you remember, all students take care is what we had discussed. Okay, now let us see plus plus plus. This is the first quadrant that we are getting, and the next value which we are getting here is plus plus minus. We are talking about the polarity. So where do we get plus plus minus? Plus plus minus. So tan theta, so tan A is giving me 4/3. This will appear, I mean this value can appear in two different quadrants. The first quadrant here is the first one, and the second quadrant in which tan would be positive is the third quadrant. Now it becomes easier to fill up all these values, and that too quadrant wise, keeping in mind that we are only supposed to talk about the first quadrant and the third quadrant. So what I am doing here is, since the question deals with only the first quadrant and the second quadrant now, because when I am saying tan theta acute angle means first quadrant, tan theta being positive, which is obtuse angle, means third quadrant. So we'll only be talking about the first quadrant and the third quadrant. Now the remaining quadrants, you'll fill up the values. If you can't do it, please put it in the comment section so that I can help you out with the values. Or take it as a homework and please put all the values, the remaining values. Okay, now let us take the acute angle case. So which is the first quadrant? So in the first quadrant we know how much is P by H? P by H is 4/5. Sin A, cosec A is just the reciprocal. I have deliberately taken a trigonometric ratio and its reciprocal, a trigonometric ratio and its reciprocal. So again tan and then cot. Okay, so now in this case this becomes 5/4. How much is B by H? B by H is 3/5. So its reciprocal becomes 5/3. How much is P by B? You already have the value of P by B as 4/3. So now in this case B by P becomes how much? 3/4. And we know that in the first quadrant and the third quadrant is what we are supposed to talk about, given the value of tan. Had it been sine A is equal to 4/3, it is not possible. Why? Because the maximum value of sine is 1. It cannot be greater than 1. Okay, so now coming back, so in the third quadrant tan and cot would be positive and we'll put the same values, and the remaining would be negative. So if you recall, if we say in the first quadrant all 6 trigonometric ratios are positive, that means none of them would be negative. In the second quadrant sine and cosec would be positive, so 2 of them would be positive and the remaining 4 would be negative. Same here, 2 of them would be positive, which is tan and cot, and the remaining 4 would be negative. Similarly in the fourth quadrant 2 of them, which are those, either, I mean one is cos and the other one is sec, these 2 would be positive and the remaining 4 would be negative. Using this logic, now I know that in the third quadrant tan and cot would be positive, the remaining would be negative. So just you can just copy down these values with a minus sign. So what is the complete answer for this question? Complete and the correct answer. The complete and correct answer is, since nothing is mentioned about A. Now what is the mention that they should have done? I mean, they should have said whether A is acute or obtuse. Had they mentioned A is in acute, in that case I'll be getting only this answer. Had they mentioned that A is obtuse, in that case we would have got only this answer. If they failed to mention what is the value of A, what is the nature of the angle, in that case the correct answer is this and this, but you will have to mention the quadrant. So in the first quadrant and in the third quadrant. And why are we considering the first and the third quadrant only? Because tan is positive in the first and the third quadrant, right? If you feel that this was a fantastic experience, please do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel. If you have already done so, click on the bell icon and select all so that you start receiving updates from us regularly. I repeat, if you want us to do some videos on specific topics or some difficult topics, please put it in the comment section so that we can do it for you. Thank you so much. Until next we meet, goodbye.